Okay, guys, CEO of Queensland Solar and Lighting here. What I'm going to tell you today is explain to you about what's going on with solar panels for the home versus solar panels for commercial applications. So a lot of people might not know that all panels aren't different sizes. So you might be comparing, you got a quote for a 370 watt, 390 watt, and you might have other quotes for like 440 watt, 500 watt panels. The thing is, the bigger the wattage doesn't actually mean the more efficient or anything like that the panel is. What's going on are the panels are like different sizes, physically different sizes. So what they're doing now over the last few years are making the panels bigger and bigger and bigger each and every year. So they can no longer really get the panels more efficient, meaning more wattage per meter squared. So they're just going, fuck it, and just adding another 10 centimeters here, add another 10 centimeters here. So you started with a little panel like this, 15 years ago, 190, 170 watt panels that were this big, 80 centimeters wide, 1.6 meters long. Then they went up to 250 watt panel, but really they went a meter wide and an extra 10 centimeters long. Then they did that size until they got to about 300 watt. Then they went to 370 watt and added another 10 centimeters in length. And the width, even now, another 10 centimeters again, so you get 1.1 meter wide. And that's the trick to the point where they're now putting commercial panels on residential houses. And if you want solar panels for your home, you want solar panels that were designed to be put on homes. You don't want commercial ones. They're too big. They're hard for the installers to physically get up there without damaging them because they weigh. They're just too physically big to carry, and they weigh too much as well. So, unless you're really using a panel lifter, which barely anyone has, to get them on the roof safely and carefully, you're not going to be able to do it properly. So they're just whacking them up, banging them on, because usually the cheapest joints are selling the biggest panels because it's cheap. And who really cares about the quality of the install? Because if no one intends to be around for the next 5 to 10 years and turf their company, well, then you get bad install practices happening. And large panels is a big red flag. Unless you're going to ask them how you plan on getting them up to the roof safely and, without damaging them, what installation practices are you going to use on these panels, then, you might have an answer to what's going on. So let's actually have a look at the panels here in terms of what's the best and what to look out for, so I can explain to you how to read data sheets better without just quickly run through them, so you don't think they're just looking at them and you don't know what you look at. It all looks like mumbo jumbo. So let's have a look here. Window, this one. All right, so this one here is the solar watt panel. This is actually the best panel you can get in Australia, in our opinion. It's a German-made panel. It's not cheap. It's got a 40 mil frame, not a 35 mil frame or 30 mil frame, so it's nice and solid German. Glass on top, glass underneath. Water can't get in it. That's what's killing them all. Water gets in them, causing shorts and all types of issues. So that's what's going on there. I don't need to talk too much about solar watt, but this is the best panel you can get, I believe. And you've got 30-year product warranty. So every single panel will boast about a 25-year performance warranty at least. That's because they at least have to have that to be able to be sold in Australia, installed with the rebate. So the cheapest, worst panel ever has to say 25-year on their spec sheet, regardless of if anything is behind the warranty on that, how solid that company is. I can ring up a solar panel manufacturing factory in China today and have, next week, Queensland Solar and Lighting branded panels out there. The warranty's as good as my company, our company, you know what I mean? It's just scams, man. Solar scams. All right. Now, I've been doing this, over 10 years in the industry, so I've seen a thing or two in my day. So here you've got this one. They got the let's have a look. The length. They're 1.7 meters long by 1 meter wide, with a 40 mil thickness in the frame. Okay, and this is a 320 watt panel, solar watts panel. Now, the next panel up is the Hyundai panel. So if we go back here and we look at this, it's 1.7 by 1 meter at 22.8. The Hyundai panel is a 400 watt panel. This one, 390 400 watt. It's a 35 mil frame, so not as thick. It's 1.1 meter wide. Remember, the solar watt are only 1 meter wide, and you got 1.7 meter in length as opposed to 1.6. So it's longer, it's wider, and it's not even as thick. So what's going on? That's what I mean. And you've only got 22 kilograms in that space, which is another kilogram less than the solar watt. So less weight, less quality, obviously. It's just not framed as well because it's, 35 you're running at there, and I don't need to explain it anymore. It's longer, and that's how they pull out that extra, 400 watt versus the 320 watt. It's because it's a physically bigger panel. So then, and it even weighs less. Go figure that on a thinner frame. So then you go up again, you go to like a 440 watt panel. Let's have a look at what's going on here. 24.4 kilograms. So this is heavier, quite a bit heavier, like 3 kilos heavier than the solar watt panel, or 4.5 heavier than a Hyundai panel. And they're actually 2.1 meters in length. That is a monster by 1 meter wide. So they come down a little bit from the Hyundai, but go massive, sky tower above anything. And then they pull an extra few kilos there. These are where it's really too big to carry. Like, that's taller than an installer unless they're bloody Yao Ming, and they're using a 40 mil frame on that, the same as the solar watt has on the 320 watt panel. So it's all a bit different. What warranty? They'll have the 25-year performance, as by Australia that they've got to. You got to look at this product warranty, and that's only a 12-year warranty. Solar watt has a 30-year warranty. So if you're a simpleton and you just think that the more wattage is the bigger is better, these are a lot cheaper than the solar watt panel. By the way, a lot, but they're more wattage. It's because all panels aren't equal. All right, let's go again to the next panel. Your next size up, a 550 watt panel. If people put these on houses, it would not surprise me, but it would take a special house to put it on. 28.5 kilogram panel. Look at this, plus minus 3%. Like, look at that. It can vary that much. So one panel might be 30 kilos, another one might be 27. How's that? With good quality control, aren't you supposed to get every panel being the same? I don't know what the go is there. So, and then you've got, let's see the dimensions on this thing. 2.3 meters in length. That is massive. And then you're going out again to 1.1 and a half in width there, and then again a 35 millimeter frame. Oh, hang on, some could be 34 or some could be 36. I don't know what's going on there, but if you understand, let us know. What I do think is going on here is, with that, is some are made in China and some are made in Vietnam. I don't know if what they give you they choose or anything, but I did see on one of these spec sheets the other day that some are made in China, some are made in Vietnam. But yeah, that's what's going on there. Once again, 12-year warranty, 25-year that they've got to have, that they brag about it. Salesmen will often say our panel has a 25-year warranty on it. Means nothing. Well, it means something if they, do something about it. But yeah, they've all got to have it, so it's nothing fancy or different at all. So also the other thing with these panels is why you don't want a longer one as well, because you physically can't. It all comes down to the installation methods and where you can install these panels on a roof. Tin roof, you've really got to put them into where your screw lines are, as you can't change the screw lines on a tin roof, as you know. That's where the brackets and the rail has to go. So the panels have to go there, and they all have to be installed within the manufacturer's guidelines. So you can't have it too far up over over the rail in the wrong area. The panels over the rail, or you're going to get diving boards, things like that. Whereas with the tile roof, you can manipulate where you put your rail and things a bit more. But at 2.3 meters, and we have heard now that some solar retailer customers are ordering from wholesalers commercial panels for residential jobs, and there's nothing to stop anyone doing it, and except for the roof guidelines that they've got to adhere to. But you drive around, see diving boards all the time. So, and also there's not 100% inspections everywhere in Australia too. So it ought to do with the wind load. You got to install it properly, and you just obviously commercial stuff is not made for residential roofs. So just don't get caught out. The reason why they're doing it though is because these panels are a lot cheaper than a solar watt 320, for example, and it's a 550 watt panel. The reason is customers just go, 550, take my money. Like, that's awesome. When it's really not, it's just a big stretched limo, you know what I mean? That's what the problem is. So, yeah, hopefully I've helped you understand solar panels for home, solar panels for your houses, and any questions, let us know and we'll endeavour to answer them.